good to be in a new tavern. So many new faces, new sights, and new gruel you call food. Oh, I can see that my audience from the old tavern have followed me to my new workplace. I am touched. No flowers or garlands for your favorite bard? I guess I must prove myself yet again. But you are nothing like those brainless buffoons who decided to stick in that kingdom with its fat monarch. Maybe I will send an undead army to plague that wretched kingdom? But no, that would be too dangerous. Or perhaps... No. I cannot make up my mind. I know. Let us get guidance from the past. They must have volumes of information regarding the undead. Yes. Taking the nail clippers from the man in front. You poor, sickly fellow. I shall clip open the veil to Ramble Shamble.
Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ramble Shamble. The host of this episode is hosted by your fabulous, most spectacular Mackie, and he is joined by not just Jotun, who is always as spectacular as he is, but also by another member or another friend of ours called Raspberry. Say hi, Raspberry.
Hey, what's happening? Raspberry Pi is in the building.
Oh, this is going to be a good episode, I can tell.
Yeah, it's going to be.
So, Raspberry, just wanted to kind of give you a brief breakdown of who Ramble Shamble is. Basically, I know we've discussed this before, because obviously you're in our podcast, you have to know something at least. We're just a podcast that like to chat about all the random little topics that come to our minds that we would like to discuss about and share it with our fellow internet listeners to inspire them to also talk about something similar and share their ideas with our little podcast.
All right. Sounds good.
But before we start on the main topic of today, guys, this is a 3-person episode. And if you guys know the general formula, the host is generally not quite a full-on participant. I say not quite because you can still vote if my idea is better than the other two. But again, it is their discussions and arguments to combat against each other, and you guys decide the victor. And that's basically the kind of formula of the episode.
Can we vote the host off?
Hasn't happened yet, so let's hope not.
I'm just playing. Carry on.
But to get the nitty-gritty stuff out of the way, guys, if you don't know where we post our episodes, again, we post it to Spotify, to YouTube, to Apple Podcasts, to Stitcher, pretty much on all those platforms that you guys possibly hear. Yeah,
Apple
thanks.
Podcast.
Yeah, and that really gets us the most of the reviews.
No ways. I'm actually on my iPhone right now, and I'm going to check this stuff out.
And that's the kind of stuff that is so easily accessible to see our podcast. And the best way to communicate to us regarding our podcast, regarding ideas, is join our Discord, which is easily available through the description links on our YouTube videos, as well as a simple Discord search, a simple Google search, and type in Ramble Shamble, and you'll find our link in through Discord. And guys can come join our servers. We're happy to create a community where you guys share art, share your interests, promotion stuff can be limited, but we're open to hearing you guys out. But the comments are really what gets us going, because it inspires us for future topics and ideas, as well as Ramble Shrapnel, which Jotun is the professional in telling you guys all about.
Yes, everybody. So, from the main episodes, we like to choose our favorite responses based on the questions that we ask you guys, because we we like to get your guys' input, and sometimes we just want to know something random. So the first thing that we generally ask you guys is whose argument you think was the better one. And then we also ask you a question based on the main topic of the episode, whatever that may be. And from the responses that we find to be the most interesting, or that you guys upvote the most from either the Discord or the YouTube comments, we will choose that for a short little bonus episode where we don't really prepare for the episode or for that little topic expansively or anything. We just off the cuff talk about whatever you guys suggest. And that's why we value your input. We believe that you guys should also take part in the content that we make, and that's why we value your input as well. Yeah. So please answer the questions that we ask you guys. And yeah, one of you lucky winners will get to suggest a topic.
But yeah, let's go into our topic, which is zombie apocalypse. And I thought it was a fitting topic because it is Spooktober. I like to call it Spooktober, not Halloween or that thing. It's Spooktober at the moment of this recording. Probably quite later down the line. You guys are probably like wondering what the heck. But we're doing zombie apocalypse, and as the host, I will paint you the fabulous background story so you guys have a bit of something to work from. So this is how the guys are trying. So listeners, if you don't know, Raspberry doesn't know how to pronounce our co-host of this, or our co-partner of this episode, which is Jotun. That happens, and that's not a problem at all. It's Jotun, and or Jotun is your choice. But yeah, let me paint you guys the background of the zombie apocalypse. So you guys are doing your normal day-to-day things. Everything's going fine. It's in your preferred choice of country. I'll give you that option, preferred choice of country, where you guys are doing your normal daily tasks, you getting by doing the normal things. And then all of a sudden, you hear a giant explosion. Not nearby, but loud enough that you guys can hear the rumble and feel the rumble around the ground. And all of a sudden, right there and there, something's off. Something doesn't feel right. You don't quite see anything change dramatically, but something's off. You hear screams in the distance. Now, having this situation, before we get in our first topic, what would be your guys' first go-to moves in this situation? You heard an explosion, you felt a rumble. Jotun, you start off. What would your first go-to move at this particular situation be?
Okay, is it just explosions and stuff, or is there like a radio thing saying there's zombies, like they're coming?
No. It's just one big explosion. There's a rumble on the ground. People are screaming in a little bit of distance. Now you've just felt all of this. Now, what is your first go-to move?
Oh, dude, I would probably just carry on gaming or something. I doubt I would notice it.
No, you fucking wouldn't.
No, that's a perfect reasonable response.
Actually, I might. Like South Africa doesn't really have earthquakes, so if there was like rumbles and stuff, then
exactly.
I would get
then
a
you
bit
would freak
spooked.
the fuck out. I would be like, yo, listen,
this isn't tornado country.
I was like, this isn't like America or a country like that. I'm like, nah, there's something going on here.
So what? Okay, so Raspberry, you seem like you have a bit across. What would be your first thing to do after this explosion? You felt a rumble, you hear a few screams in the background. What would you do? What would be your first?
Oh, did
action?
you add the screams part? You added the screams part. You didn't say screams earlier.
Did you? Slight, quiet screams in the background. So it's quite a distance away. You can't quite hear the screams like clear, but you hear the slight screams. What would be your first action?
Okay, my first action is if I'm on this podcast right now, and I hear
not in the podcast. You're doing your normal like day-to-day things, like say you're cleaning your dishes, playing video games. All of a sudden you hear boom, and then there's a slight rubble. Now after the rubbles and the noise settles, you hear slight screams like.
Oh man,
you don't.
Games. If I'm playing games and I hear slight screams and rumbles. Firstly, I'll take off my headset as slowly as possible. I'll stand up. I'll ask my girl and be like, "You okay? What was that?" she'll be like, I don't know. I would personally think, listen, it's a day in South Africa, and I'll just carry on, to be honest, because I wouldn't think much of it.
Perfectly reasonable
you
response.
Can't tell me, you both can't tell me you would both be like, you
No,
guys wouldn't think much
I'm
of it.
exactly.
Like, I mean, look at the
Especially-
looting what happened during June in Durban. I mean, like,
I was
bro,
just
like
about to
half the-
say, after
like,
what happened
bombs went
last
off,
year.
AK-47s went off down my fucking road even.
Guys, to any listeners over here who isn't clued in about South Africa, last year we had riots because of some shortages and stuff, and they were basically militia keeping people safe inside the area where Raspberry stays.
Nah, like, listen, you guys think you have your problems. No. Listen, you don't know what tough is until you live in this fucking country. I'll tell you that. It's true.
No, but that's why I raised the question to you two guys, because
Yeah.
we like to think of the whole movie situation like, oh no, I'm gonna break open the cupboards, stop
Nah,
boarding
hell
up the
no.
doors. No, I'm putting you guys in a real life situation here. You guys heard this, and obviously you could have had if like any normal person, like myself included, I would not actually do anything. I would feel something. I'm like, whoa, something's off, but I wouldn't do anything until something really pops up. So now I'm going to add more to the story. So now you guys have painted
Nah,
that.
bro.
No,
To be
don't worry.
To be honest, like, dude, like, okay, rumbling happens. I would literally just be like, I'm not thinking much of it. I mean, day in South
Yeah,
Africa,
100%.
looting, gun grenade, not much of it. I'll literally just carry on gaming. People probably freak out everywhere else until I get a WhatsApp video of like something going on. Then I'll be
100%.
like, maybe there's something more to this.
Yeah. So I just want to say my response would be to check out with Papa Google if something has happened
Yeah.
around me, because I live very close by to a school. So if there are people screaming and stuff,
Yeah.
I just think that it's children, you know?
Yeah. You guys painted really good scenarios. So now you guys have done the kind of normal things to do. So after, say, 15, 20 minutes, you don't quite feel or hear or see anything different. It's still normal day. And then all of a sudden, a viral video goes out on pretty much all platforms of people screaming and running. And all of a sudden, they are busy eating each other. Some people are eating each other. Some people are pouncing on each other. Some people are putting the people down to the floor and grouping together. And you see blood splatters while the person recording is swearing and crying. And all of a sudden, the video stops. And then all of a sudden, the power turns off. Typical in South Africa.
I was just about to say, are you
The
sure
power
that
goes
isn't
off.
just ESCOM?
So the power goes off. You've seen this video. Not quite confirmed it's a zombie, but you've seen the video of things pouncing on people doing certain things. Now, I'm leading you guys to the first question, because obviously there's so many ways we could have done this. I could have played a play-by-play, get to hear you guys. Maybe we'll do it in another episode, but in this episode, you've seen this video. You've now gotten a bit of an idea that something is quite not right, that you guys got inspired enough to do something about it. And the first thing you guys come to your mind is that we need a base of operations. So you could go like one of the default fallbacks, which I will propose here as one of mine, but again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, is possibly making yourself hold up in a casino or a grocery store. So I would pick a grocery store, because then I would have all the food I would need to, and I would not need to venture out unnecessarily. Yes, there's drawbacks where obviously the zombies would have multiple ways of getting in, because it's a store. It would have both the emergency exit and the front exit. But at the same time, I'll have all the resources necessary to barricade, make food, and set up quite an established settlement from the shopping center onwards. Now, this is your question, guys. What would your go-to base of operations be? It can be anything but it has to be within the place you started at. If you guys both said South Africa, it has to be something in South Africa.
Ugh.
If you guys said UK or America, I'll give you guys that freedom, but then everything going forward has to be based according to those places and etc. So, Jotun, do you want to go first?
Nah,
or should I hand it over to Raspberry?
Jotun go first.
Okay, Jotun, you have been nominated.
My number one choice, although it would be.
Wait,
let's
sorry.
say
Before you carry on, can we interject here? Like, if we think like, no, we'd rather should do this and that.
Oh no, 100%. So Jotun will pitch his idea, and while after he's pitched his idea, you get to poke as many holes as you wish into there, clarify in there, make any things, and reveal to me as to the host and why Jotun's idea is not quite as good as he is claiming up to be. And Jotun, unfortunately, we don't have too much time for this episode, so keep to 1-2 ideas if you have. I know you are notorious for having multiple ideas, but try keep to the top 2 if necessary.
I've only got one.
Okay,
Whoa.
perfect.
Well, you asked what's my go-to place, so
Yeah, what is
Yeah, go for it.
so it'd take a little bit of a while to get there. Let's say a 2-hour drive, but granted that it would take a while for the zombie outbreak to spread, I would gun it straight in the beginning for a very small port or like port city or port town, because there would be a lot of trade that the port facilitates, and
Motherfucker stole my
that-
idea.
and it would mean that I need all the resources, or I have all the resources that I would need, including food, but probably the most important is building resources as well. And apart from the goods that it can provide me, probably the best thing about it is that you've always got a getaway plan for if the zombies come for you, and that's that you can just go onto the open water.
Well,
Interesting.
Well, my theory would be it does take a while for the zombies to, like, everyone get infected and start chow-chowing.
Again, you guys don't quite know it's zombies. You just know that people are eating each other, so you kind of have the impression of zombies, but you don't know. So you don't know what type of zombies this is. You guys are going on
But
a
it is
whim
zombies.
here. Yes, it is
So
zombies as we know, but again, you don't know how it's spread. So you don't know if it's like Evil Within, or if it is like World War Z, or if it's like that. So you guys are working with very, like, you're right. That's perfect. Rioton's response is perfect. I'm just giving you the idea that you don't quite know the reason or cause
Okay.
yet.
Yeah, the only alternative thing that would be like people eating other people's flesh, in my mind, would be like
zombies.
would be a crazy Wendigo outbreak, which is even worse. So in that
Oh,
case,
that's
a
very
zombie
true.
scenario is the zombie scenario is the light thing in that
I've
case.
got to rethink this whole thing, dude.
But anyway, yeah,
Okay.
a port for me. Oh,
Well,
and
that's a clever idea.
also, if you do need to break away, then the sea is like a self-sustainable source of food
Jotun.
for you.
Jotun, maybe I should have gone first. Fuck, you stole everything I was going to say.
It happens when you give up your idea, so unfortunately you're going to have to come up with another idea.
No, so my thing was going to be like found a base, like deeper in the ocean, go somewhere where it's very easy access to the ocean. Because what's cool is, like your thing, Mr. Host, Mackie, like at a supermarket, if you barricade yourself in a supermarket, I can only think of bad things that can happen. Yes, you got the food resources, but the majority of people that are going to go find security and shelter are going to go and try break in to a shopping market or a food market, keeping yourself
100% true.
open, bro. Because if you're on your own, you don't have weapons, or let's say you make a makeshift weapon. Though you're gonna fight off those masses, hey? They're gonna do damage getting in. Because when food and water is a necessity, they're gonna break in. They're gonna try to kill you. There's gonna be herds of masses. So yes, you
Very
might have
true.
the food resource, but you kind of want to go away where you can go for natural resources. So my whole thing would be go somewhere close to an ocean, because if food runs out, listen, you might not catch a fish every day, but once you catch a fish, it can last you a little bit. So go somewhere where you can do a little bit of fishing, and listen, if need be, you might not have diesel or petrol to go, or gas, to go to catch fish in the boat down there, but at least you can do some marine life on the shore there. There might be crabs, there might be
100%.
whatever. But
So I like your guys' ideas, and I perfectly agree with you, Raspberry. Like, I gave that shopping idea as my input into that. It would not be my top choice. One of my top choices
what would
be
yours
farm.
be then? Farm.
Would be a farm.
Self-sustainable.
A farm.
Yeah.
Farm it's not 100% long term. The reason why I would choose farm is that it's very isolated. So if anything would come to me, it would more be animal life. So, but again, I don't know anything about this. The disease could be transferred along with the animals. I could just be exposing myself to the said virus or whatever the thing.
Dude, imagine like 40 cows and 30 sheep have got like the zombie virus and they just want to try eat you. It'll be so
100%.
funny that like
Yeah.
sheep just try to run after you, be like, meh.
That's
That'll
no
be so
joke.
funny.
That's no joke, bro. I have like a fear of cows. I can barely
Oh.
walk within 3 meters of a cow because if those things charge you, then you're done, dude. That's like 300 kilograms of meat knocking you.
That steak hit you hard.
Dude, I'm the guy who would take a bite out of that cow because I see sirloin steak. Like, I would literally be like, okay, it's your turn now. You try to charge me, fine. I can do 1 for 1. Like, it's chilled. I can bite you.
But that actually brings up one of the most important factors of zombie media in general, which is that the biggest threat isn't the zombies. The biggest threat is actually other people.
Oh yeah, that
Agreed.
was like my whole thing with the supermarket because other people would try
Yeah.
hunt you and try claim what is like they
Very
listen
true.
when any outbreak or virus goes down and there's no resources, humanity will go into the olden days where it's you hunt and you like your village, your plunder, your rape is the wrong word, not people, but your rape the facility that you've tried to build so they can just take something back with them and let them survive for 2 days. So your main fear isn't the actual zombies in that. It should be actual normal people who aren't infected.
Yeah.
So I just want to add on to Jotun's thing. So Jotun said he would take a port. Now, from experience, certain ports would you choose a bit of an isolated port, like somewhere that's
port.
obviously a small port,
Yeah.
okay, and so you would take that as an opportunity. So now I know ports generally are walled in. They generally have like a gate and a walled in perimeter. We can make the assumption that the people who used to be there have long gone. They tried to go save their families, whatever. You with your car with the family managed to come inside here, lock the gates. Now, this is quite a large area to protect because, again, we don't know if the creatures or zombies are able to climb walls or that kind of stuff. So you've got a lot of ground, a lot of open space to cover because ports don't generally have lots of buildings. They have like one central main building for obviously admin purposes, probably a toilet, so you pretty much cover it there. But then obviously, in order to protect it, how would you fortify your
So
port?
I wouldn't make the whole port my base of operations. I would make a small, manageable, like boat or like family cruise vessel, like something like those typical vessels that have a bed, a kitchenette, and let's say a room inside of it. I would make one of those
Yeah.
that would be my base of operations actually, because it doesn't really help me if I try to settle inside the warehouse and then there's banging and shit that goes on around me and I realized, oh crap, they're coming for me. And then I have to first haul ass 2 kilometers to an actual getaway vessel. No, I need to move about in short little bursts and move
Okay.
everything that I need to the vessel because that is my ultimate survival method. But the port I would just go
Okay.
to in the beginning as a place which I can exploit the resources of. Yeah, just like
Okay.
if I didn't have access to a port or anything, then my go-to would probably be something like an RV because that's a mobile home. Let's not kid ourselves. In a zombie apocalypse or any kind of flesh-eating apocalypse, your best plan is a mobile plan because the zombies move around as well.
That's true. Okay. Now we've heard Jotun give his nice pitch. Now, Raspberry, you did mention that you would also do something similar to the coast. Would yours also be a nomadic kind of style where you would move from time to time? Or would you more fortify a central location and kind of like make sure that wherever you stay in is like it's solid? Like obviously you're able to go out when you need to, but you always have a place where you can call a safe place after you've done your explorations.
So it's a difficult one to answer because I want to say that I would go and look for people to befriend so we can go as a group. And So then,
Okay.
saying that, by doing that, then I would think about fortifying and securing one location, and then
And that
basically,
location would be?
it's so difficult to say. I would say close to the ocean, but actually, it would be close enough to water so you can boil it. If there's dirty
Okay.
water, close enough to water, close enough to soil so you can grow your own things.
So would you choose a farm that's close to the coast then? Something like that?
Yeah, I'll choose that. That'll probably be the better idea.
Okay. Again, I'm just trying to decipher what you've done because Jotun's painted a really good pictures that he wants something that's a more mobile plan, so a boat with like bedding and stuff, and he would set up base wherever he needs to set up base.
Yeah, no,
But
that's
I
a
just wanted to
smart
get
move.
your opinion.
That's a smart move, what Jotun said. For me, I would personally start settling down a place and fortify and make sure that place is secure. Then eventually, slowly but surely, start scavenging out and go for runs and go for scavengers. Search for tin, search for other things that you might not have in the area, and try self-sustain in the little area you have to eventually grow that. Yes, there's going to be times probably where you can't anymore and you have to move on to different locations. But in the meantime, that will be a starting point. So I think we got to establish between starting point and end goal.
100%, and I agree with that. So now I got your two ideas. I'm going to poke holes in each one of them. You guys are welcome to poke additional holes. I'm going to start with Jotun because he gave his, he started there. Now, Jotun, where I do agree, a mobile solution is a preferable solution because obviously resources can. This is a poke to you, by the way, Raspberry. Resources in the area will eventually run out. Because no one's restocking those shelves, no one's restocking anything. So agreed, self-sufficiency is important, but that's going to take a bit of time and a lot of manpower, which is going to be a bit difficult when everyone doesn't know who's going to pounce on each other next. Again, it's a weird situation that is there. But the problematic thing about Jotun's idea is that he will, what I foresee, and please, Jotun, correct me or improve your prove that why what I'm saying is not quite this case. I see Jotun running away from the whatever horde and always on a consistent run basis. Now, say that you are on your boat, you manage to, obviously, you're not quite a skilled boatsman, that kind of stuff. Obviously, there's certain motor-powered boats. You drive away and then you have to leave whatever you gathered and from the mainland, because you won't be able to stock up on a lot too much, or the boat will be way too heavy on the area that you gathered. So basically, all that effort to gathering certain equipment, certain medicines, certain foods, you only be able to grab a portion of that and put it on the boat and leave without it. Now, you're gonna eventually also run into the same situation, is that you've used up the ports, and again, now you move to an RV. You won't necessarily have always the greatest equipment, and eventually you're going to just be running to exhaustion.
Petrol.
Exactly. So do you have anything to combat against that? Because a lot of people would settle down, and I like your idea because it's really something I've never came across before.
So what exactly is your question? What will I do if I run out of resources?
Well, how would you combat the thing where is this a true downside that you have to like leave pretty much everything you've gathered at the port because it got a little bit too hot to stay at that certain location and just
I don't think that situation would arise that quickly, because
I don't either. I agree with Jotun.
But I don't mean that. I don't think that the resources in the port will disappear quite quickly, because it's very possible that there are other survivors around that are also looking after themselves, and things will disappear after a while. But what I mean is, it would be a bit senseless of me to gather resources and tools and things, but then not leave them on the ship, but on the land. I would make sure that they're on the ship, at least like a month's supply or something, like a month's supply of food.
Wait, what kind of ship are we talking about? Are we talking about
this sounds like you on a rig, bro?
Yeah.
Remember, I said like a family kind of vessel that can have a bed and a kitchenette and like a room inside. How much resources do you think you can fit inside of a room?
Yeah, fair enough. You can fit quite a bit if you pack it right.
Yeah, you can fit that there, but then where are you gonna go? Because now you got all the boxes on the bed, and now you don't have a bed. You just have something occupying the space.
I know what you mean, like a yacht type of thing.
Yeah, like a yacht that a family would have
large
for
yacht.
a holiday. Not a large yacht, just a yacht.
Okay.
Let's say 10 by 6 meters.
Okay. That's a
Like,
decent size.
That's a decent size. That's a decent size on the inside of the place for like something the size of a pantry. And like
100%.
like you don't actually need a toilet. I would actually fill up the whole entire toilet compartment
I'll just
with
shit in the
with
ocean.
stuff. Exactly. You can pee and crap over the sides.
Nice.
So that's just more
nice.
storage space for you. And
Yeah.
logically, you wouldn't be stocking up on tools and things that you think is going to be used up quickly. You want something that is like anti-corrosive or whatever. We talked a bit about this in our survival episode as well. Like you're not
What
going
tool is really anti-corrosive though? I mean, a hammer still rusts. A screwdriver still rusts.
stainless steel
if you
things.
have to do, yeah, but how? But like in a situation like this now, where the whole world's going apeshit, you're not going to think of grabbing something that's stainless steel. You're not going to be picky.
I would.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because
Yeah.
you're in life and death. Like you're not going to if you let's say there is a bit of a supermarket vibe going, or like a selection of tools by a hardware store or something. You're not going to go for the tool that looks like crap. No, you're going to
No,
go for the one
100%.
that looks like premium, that's going to hold a while, because you don't have to pay for that shit anymore. It's free right now. So you just take the best
Yeah,
you can get and
sure.
you haul ass.
100%. I guess
So-
so. Yeah.
And Mackie, we talked about this a bit with the survival episode as well. Like, I wouldn't choose a water filter that looks like it's made of plastic.
No, the
and-
water filter will be fine. Yeah, the water filter will be fine in the situation.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about that. That is absolutely fine.
I mean that's idea writ large. You're not going to
Yeah.
go for something that looks like it's going to deteriorate with, let's say,
100%.
with 6 months of use or something. But even if that were the case, 6 months is a pretty long time, especially if you're mobile.
That
No,
is.
and I agree with your idea. I just can foresee you guys are going to be out in sea, and all of a sudden the motor stops working, and then you guys with your limited experience with boat handling and mechanical repairs, you're going to look at this and you say, we're going to try
That
and
brings me
swim
to
back
my
to shore.
most important safety measure, which is actually that I would, if like the instant I find out that some kind of flesh-eating thing is happening, I would download the offline version of Wikipedia immediately. That's like most of the knowledge of humanity contained within 70 gigabytes.
But remember, I painted the fact that the power went off after you viewed that video.
Hey, we
So-
live in South Africa. Most of us has generators and UPSs.
Yeah, man. South
True,
Africa is
true.
ready for that shit,
But
dude.
all the cell towers are pretty low at the moment because thanks to all that load shedding. So you probably got like
Offline.
2 minutes, 10 minutes of.
That's perfect amount of time.
Dude, as soon as I get a big enough phone or a phone with big enough capacity, because at the moment I have a shit one, I'm literally going to download the whole of Wikipedia anyway. Like, you never know when something is going to happen.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question because I think we need to move on. Now, I'm going to repaint the scenario. So you guys have been surviving. You guys have been gathering. Now, in Raspberry's case, he's been growing a community where it seems that Jotun would most likely find a community and kind of settle with them for a while. Still have his like escape option if he needs to kind of like save his family. But in the time being, Jotun's found a place which he seems like it can be working for now until they stop benefiting me and my family, and where Raspberry is building his like community, growing his like bringing his homies and bros together and kind of gathering the guns and pistols, whatever they wish. Now you guys have been nominated as
Look, I'm going to go with you, but first of all, I just got to say, I would definitely not build a community or anything. I would treat this as winning the lottery. Like, the more people that know about my stuff.
but that's why I'm saying that you would be part of the community, but you wouldn't necessarily create a community. Where Raspberry
okay.
would create a community, you would join it, but only if it benefits you.
Yeah.
Yes, creating a community. Listen. Creating a community like this is just my opinion, creating a community makes sense because firstly, you got more hands, you got more protection, you have more skilled people in their fields. For example, imagine someone who is a contractor. Cool, let's build a perimeter, like an actual sick ass perimeter around here, so we can kind of do this, like Walking Dead style. Like create like a town, you know, create your own town with people so you can all trust one another if you go together as a group, and then you can build, you can slowly do this and that, like slowly build. But at the same time, also, whilst you're doing that, like hunter and gatherer style, get the people to go out, a group of you guys go out and scout and go gather resources, and the other just maintain the facility, do your day-to-day jobs, rotation as in farming, cool, plant more this, house carrots this, pick this, do that, and then the food that the community collects together from doing all of this can feed the community. Self-sustainable, self-thingy. Because I mean, you know, you just get one of those people who are like extreme wilderness crazy motherfuckers that'll be able to build a TV out of bamboo sticks. You know what I'm saying? Just get one of them and, you know, sorted.
No, and I 100% agree with that. I'm just painting the scenario of, so you just enforce my situation where you would create the community where Jotun will go by and he would leave the community if it came into... Okay, but I'll paint the question. So now the community is seeing that you guys have really interesting, great ideas, and they felt comfortable enough now to give you guys, let's say, you guys can enforce one rule or law, well, not enforce, but dictate or doctrinate one law or rule to the community that they have to follow. Now, obviously, there's a lot of rules and a lot of laws that have to be following. Now, Raspberry, since you didn't go first last time, I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, good.
Now, this law can be anything. Like one law could be that if you're coughing, you must get the F out of this community because we have no idea how this thing is going. So it could be like coronavirus style. Again, you guys have no idea how this thing is going. You guys are working by pure knowledge of what people have been rooming around, where one person's saying, oh, I've seen one person bite in their turn, where another person says, oh no, someone got shot in the head in their turn. And there's this consistent conflict of information. No one's really put the information together to make a logical conclusion of how the virus is spreading. All you know, it is happening. You guys are quite confident now it is a zombie apocalypse.
Okay, yeah.
And again, you guys could download whatever you wanted to download from Wikipedia, but you have one rule or law. What do you think would be the most important for people to follow?
All right, okay. So now that we've known it's a zombie apocalypse, okay? We don't know what caused the virus. We don't know what happened. Okay, but we know it's a zombie apocalypse. I mean, just that act alone, every person in this freaking world has watched the zombie apocalypse movie or has something with the zombie in it. So you can kind of paint your own picture of what's going to go down. You know what I mean? Without actually knowing what's happening.
Yeah.
But so the first law would be, okay, guys, even though we don't know what's really going on, we can kind
This
of
is the only one, hey? So you have to make sure this is your top-rated law.
Yeah.
Give me
that's fine.
five laws.
That's fine. No, I'm not giving you 5 laws. I'm giving you one law that is amazing. Okay, promise you. So the one law would be, because now I'm saying this because we're a community and because we're going to bunker down and build a community, the one law goes down to saying share everything and everyone works. Like everyone must work and share.
Good idea.
In the sense of everyone must have rotations to farm, everyone must have rotations to do this, everyone must have rotations to that. So it's not unfair because you don't want your own people to get angry and upset with one another. Then it'll just be a flop. The whole thing will just go down. And share as in, for example, if you are an excellent farmer and you grew like 10 tomatoes within one yield or one plant, and that there's only been one tomato on any other tree there is, I mean, distribute that amongst the community. You know, everyone needs to have a certain amount of portion of food, everyone needs to have a certain amount of this, like rationalize, portionalize, share, and work. Yeah, that's the law.
And to add a bit of like conflict of your idea, I'm sure Jotun will back me up on this. What happens to, say, your community includes a very old timer, like someone that's really old, or a kid who's very young?
Or someone breaks their arm. They can't do the work.
Are you asking me what's going to happen then?
Yeah, well, they can't do the work. They're breaking the law.
Okay.
They're literally there taking up the resource. What would you do with them?
Execute.
Now,
no,
You get the plan.
there's like bodies lying outside your wall saying you don't work, you're one of them.
No, 100%. Be like, execution, we can use your meat, human. Nah. No. So realistically, okay. Obviously, when it comes to situations like that, if they can't work, there's exceptions. You know, like a law says, at a stop street, you're supposed to stop. However, if there's no cars, do you actually physically stop your vehicle, or do you slowly roll over, slow down your speed incredibly, so you roll over the stop street, look left and right, and continue to go? So technically, you've broken the law by not stopping. However, it's not frowned upon doing what you're doing. And there's always loopholes to a law, or not loopholes, but there's always leeway to a law like that. Same thing with this working, where you got to explain to your people saying, listen, obviously, if you're injured and sick as fuck, then obviously you can't work. But like, listen, if you just snap the nail, different story. Like, go work.
But what if I'm overweight and doing
Nah,
physical
bro, then you need to
exercise
lose weight. I'm making you
difficult?
healthy. Then I'm making you healthy. You must work.
But he's not
With a
working
whip.
though,
Witcha.
and he's not working, and he's healthy for his age. It's not my fault he's 80.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, everyone must work. It's
Screw
not like,
that! I'm gonna kill him.
no, listen, no, you're blowing it out of proportion.
You see how these things come up?
No, asshole, listen.
Because you have to account for that, the fact
No,
that
no,
so
listen,
how I would have changed it for the elderly. I'm helping you here. So the elderly, I would say that they would be the babysitters. So you have kids, they need to be educated and stuff, and the elderly probably know quite a bit.
Wait,
I'm helping you here.
You said, yeah, but you said one law. You didn't say we must add 50 rules within the law.
No. I said one law, and then obviously there's going to be downsides because you only have one law to make it up.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, again, I know that this is an impossible challenge that you're never going to get 100% right, and that's why we love this Ramble Shamble, because
Mackie wants us to make some kind of Hammurabi's code of law with
No,
only one law.
Yeah.
Listen, no. But my law to everyone must work is getting you guys taking it too seriously. So in the fact that, as what Mackie said, the law to work, so an elderly person can't go and like plow. That elderly person can't go lay bricks because they have bad back knees. The old person can't go hunting, and you know what I'm saying? Maybe you get some crazy motherfucker.
But what do you
old
do with
person
them?
Who can. No, so what you'll do is you'll go and give them other easier jobs.
Well, you said that everything is done on rotation, though.
Yes.
So you're the one
obviously.
who suggested that everyone does a little bit of every job because it's on
But
rotation.
within reason, obviously. I mean, if you have Arnold Schwarzenegger in your fucking camp, are you gonna let him go?
I'll be like,
Yeah, are you gonna let him babysit like other people? Nah.
But Arnie over there needs a lot of fuel to power all of that muscle. So does he get like triple rations? Because that's how much calories those people use up.
No. The difference is
not.
it depends
But
what
then-
type. It depends what type of Arnie you're talking about. Are you talking about nowadays Arnold? Because nowadays Arnold, he's not that jacked.
Yeah, Mr. Olympia.
yeah. So obviously, we're gonna have to leave it off there. Jotun, what one law would you give to the people?
Oh, geez. It definitely wouldn't be some kind of socialist thing. It would probably be something like, and it's going to be a bit like the Asimov's law of robotics, and it'll basically be just don't do harm to other people, and that can be like actual physical harm or stealing from them or something. But
Okay.
basically, you're in it for yourself. You're allowed to trade and whatever amongst yourselves, but you're not allowed to hurt or be detrimental towards other people in terms of sabotage or stealing from them or anything like that. Zombies are fair game, go apeshit on them. You can cap them, you can hack them apart or whatever, but people are a no-go.
Now what stops your people from listening to your law?
No, so this is a law that we have to enforce everywhere. So it's not, they will have to listen to it.
Okay.
However, like yours. So if you said that everyone rotates, everyone has to do it, it's a law. But if someone doesn't do it, then obviously I guess so. Yeah. What happens if they don't? What happens?
Yeah.
Do they get exiled? I agree with you. Sorry, Raspberry, you are correct there. Jotun, what would you do if they don't listen to that law?
Yeah. Well,
Would they be exiled?
the only way that things can happen in order to enforce that law is that there would be some kind of punishment that comes with it. Now,
like,
so look, whatever law you put, the punishment would literally be the antithesis of that law. So, for example, now I said that you can't harm or be a detriment towards other people, but the punishment would be the exact opposite. It would be either you have to kill that guy or you have to like whip him on the stake or something like that, or like
that's
on
like
his
a
post.
huge dictatorship, bro.
Yeah, but what's your one? Your one is that you have to be all
Yeah, what would
lovey-dovey
yours be?
or exile.
No,
that's
listen.
that's exactly the opposite
Nah.
as well. So the point that I'm making is that the punishment would have to go completely against the values of everybody that's following your law. By definition, it would need to be, because otherwise, what would push them away from it? Because it would have to be something they actually value. Otherwise, there's no fear of them.
I get that. But
That's very true. That's very true.
I get that. I agree with you. But there's two ways to look at this. It's the way you are, but there's also another way of looking at this too. So it's not whipping or burning them by the stake or fucking like massacring them. My thing is, okay, you must understand the law. If you break the law within the community, it's like breaking a law with the country. You have to be punished in a certain way. However, depending on your crime, let's say, for example, you said no one's allowed to steal from one another. Let's say someone stole Jimmy's toilet paper roll. There now he doesn't have toilet paper, or he steals his portion of his food.
Hey, toilet paper's gold at this era.
So he goes and steals his food. Like to beat him
12
and to put him,
lashings at noon.
or 12 lashings at noon, or like to
As the clock strikes.
naked. It's like, Jimmy, you better tuck the balls in because this is gonna be a fucking legend.
Jeez,
But,
this is like ass. This is like playing ass on the playground now.
So, well, my thing would be is, honestly, if someone steals food from another, that's a huge thing, because obviously that person won't child. And the way you described everything, your law was to, no one disadvantages one another. However, your law doesn't state to share with one another. So technically, Jimmy over there might have 50 apples, but Peter over there only has one. So for him, once his one is finished, he would be obliged to be like, yo, I'm hungry. No one's helping me because you said it's all for yourself, all games, just for you, bro. You don't know how to help one another. So then you're going to have that to happen in your community. So my punishment will be if O's don't work, okay, not necessarily work, but if I had the same scenario, obviously no one must steal. I mean, that's another law, but Mackie said one. But if another law did have to come up, it would also be not stealing, obviously, fuck. But then a punishment would be not necessarily punishing them, but threaten them to be exiled and released into this unknown, because we know it's a zombie, but we don't know what. So then that person would have to go and roam around himself, not necessarily hurt the person, but more of the...
But then it still has to do with whatever you value in your community. So so those people value the inclusivity of being in a community and mutual benefit towards everybody in the community.
Respect and...
So now, if you boot them out of their community, then they've lost everything. They don't have a community. They have no one that they can help. There's no one else whose skills they can rely on. And similarly, in our modern system nowadays, probably the thing that we value the most in our culture is freedom. And lo and behold, what's the penalty for breaching other people's freedom? You get put in prison, where you've got fuck all place to go. You've got fuck all choice about what you want to do.
But you don't get 20 lashings
whatsoever.
at noon.
Yeah, well.
So, no, but you see, this is why I'm so glad that this is probably one of the better, or not the better. I think this is one of the best pairings of complete opposite ideas we've had in Ramble Shamble.
Who's gonna stop being bad if they get threatened? Like,
you know
it's
what?
a
Fuck you,
zombie
Jotun.
apocalypse,
Exactly,
dude.
so-
You know what,
It's
Jotun?
steal or
Hey,
go
Jotun,
hungry.
Jotun, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna tell my
Back,
community
guys, back,
to go and whoop
back,
your
back.
community's ass. It's gonna be a war.
Okay, so it's really great to have two complete different perspectives, because Jotun has obviously a much more nomadic and saying if you can't do it yourself, then obviously you're not fit for this environment. you're gonna die off eventually. Where Raspberry likes to build the community back up. So once the infrastructure and things break apart, he likes bringing the pieces back together and say, in order for this to be a long-term thing, not like a one-shot hurrah, let's build it together. Now, guys, we don't have much time. I'm going to leave this to the question to the audience. We are going to touch on one more topic briefly after I've given the question of this episode. Where would what one law would you make in a zombie apocalypse to the group of people? You can't say leading, and exact same scenario, situations, your choice. You can even share your preferred place of base operations. Again, your choice. Now, guys, we're going to go to the last.
Wait. Before we do, we haven't heard what the host's law would be.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to poke holes in your fucking law.
Mackie, before you give us a law, I just want to say one good thing about Raspberry's law. I think the most plausible way in which you can build a community is that you do it in the very beginning of the outbreak, before people
100%.
have started to get desperate. Because when people are desperate, you can't trust anything that they say. But
100%.
if you build like a
100%.
bond with people in the very beginning, then that just already reduces the incentive for any kind of betrayal or anything like that.
100%. It's not unlikely that someone will betray you. It's not unlikely, however, your chances are slim. Because when you build that trust in the beginning, your mind goes, hey guys, you know what? Either though no one knows what's going on, you get into a little panic mode, and all you want to do is find people. I think it's just the human thing. Just find people so you can all be a group to comfort one another. Not comfort as in cry in each other's arms, but you know what I mean? Work together. So by doing that early, you establish a good base and you'll establish a good foundation. Whereas, as what Jotun said, like if you do that too late, you can't trust anyone. Imagine you guys now have an established base. Everything is sorted, right? You guys have, it's like Garden of Eden at your places. And now all of a sudden I randomly come and knock on your door and it's like, yo, listen, would you let me in? Help me. Like, you're not really going to trust me.
I agree with all you say, so let me give my quick law. Again, we don't have much time, and I really want to touch on the last topic.
Quickly,
It'll be
tell
a
us
fun
your
little end topic. So the law that I would do is very similar to Raspberry's idea. So again, I would do something similar to Raspberry. I would make a base of, I will bring a community together of like-minded, skilled people. My law would be you get what you work for. So obviously it has the same consequence as Raspberries, is that what about the elderly and the young? Obviously that would be covered by other laws, and it's an impossible question to solve every problem with one law. So similar to what Raspberry says, except mine's a little bit more harsh, because my one's saying that if you say kill 10 zombies, you should technically get 10 rations of food.
I thought you were going to say 10 zombies of food.
Check, this community takes out every zombie there is in the country for more rations
100%.
of food.
So, but if you decide to like laze around and you don't do much of anything, you'll still get one ration. You'll still get one ration of food, but you won't get nearly as much as the people who work. Like, you will get the very, very bare minimum, and that's what my law would be, saying that if you don't work, you get the bare minimum you ever need. And if it comes to shove that we have to sacrifice one of the people, boy, you are on the top of that list. Because, oh boy, if the bandits come over and they say, give up one of your guys and we'll give you 10 rations of food, I'll say, sorry man, you're not helping this community.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Raspberry
100%.
gets one perk and then I get one perk before we go to the next topic.
Yeah, and then we make it an Alpha Tower.
I'm fragile.
And then
Mackie thought he could get away.
No, go for it.
So my thing would be is that you said everyone works with rations. Like, if you're lazy, you only get one ration. Like, you still got to feed your people. You give them one ration. But that's going to cause a lot of bias and a lot of unfairity and a lot of jealousy. Because imagine now, one person tries his best to, let's say, slay 10 zombies. That gives him 10 rations. But he can only slay one because he's incompetent. Then that orc is going to feel so bad. And it doesn't matter. But it's going to get to a point where it's going to be a...
He needs to get good. It's
going to be a rivalry.
If you kill one zombie, you get one ration. Or you would technically get 2 rations, because it's always 1 plus whatever you do. So if it's not killing zombies, or if it's just like gathering farms, like gathering food, you gather like 2 rations of food, You get 2 rations of food.
100%. The thing is, that's a good idea, but at the same time, it's a terrible idea. Mainly because if you take someone's food away, I promise you, people will go south quickly and they will revolt. They will go apeshit. Your community will fall, bro.
Not taking their food.
Well, what's ration?
In my system, they would distribute it in a central location. And when it comes to food distribution or food rationing to give out to people, they won't get nearly as much because they didn't get the seal of improvement of saying you've done your
That's
fair
more
share
of
of
a
work.
punishment, though.
No, you're not making your argument stronger, because if there's one place where all the food is, then everybody knows where the stuff is being hidden. But anyway, my hole to poke into it is that, and it's got nothing to do with human emotion, but it's purely practical and objective. And that's when the point comes where all the like tinned things and preserved foods are finished, then it literally means that the people that kill 10 or they're already dead, that do away with 10 zombies will get 10 portions, but then they can only eat so much. So a lot of the things that they are working for would be wasted or spoiled in the end, because when you get to the point where you're only getting fresh
goods.
produce and fresh meat, then all those other things will just rot. And now you've got old man Cranky over here. You've got old man Cranky here. That is, and this is where the emotion comes in. He'll be like, "But dude, you can't even eat all of that before it starts rotting. Why do I only get 1 ration when 4 of your 10 is rotting?"
No, and that's where obviously my other law would come into effect. But again, I won't say
that's when you can get a bit of booty or something, because you can give some of your extra to the hottie over there, and then everybody's happy.
Yeah,
even
100%.
though she's not working.
Yeah.
And then you become a pimp.
Yeah, 100%.
And then a black market starts.
Yeah, that's true. But that's my whole argument. Your whole community.
No more perks, because we have to move on to the last topic. We don't have much time. I agree. Guys, it's an impossible one to make sure that it's intentionally left with holes. Okay, guys? Everyone has holes in their one law. Now, the last topic, I've decided to shift it. I know you got it. We all got millions of holes. Technically, our pores and our skin have holes. So the last question is, so I've intentionally been hiding the fact that we don't know how this virus is making people into so-called zombies or Zs or Zs or whatever versions of zombie you like to be called. Now, you guys are fed up with not really knowing. So the question that I'm leaving you guys with is, how would you figure out the zombie virus? So I'll give you how the zombie virus is spreading. So again, I've intentionally left it blank. So, but like the method. So not necessarily like, so I'll tell you my method. My method is that I personally, or myself and a scout, or someone with a bit of like survival knowledge, would go hunker down, and with like having a pee bag inside of our like suits and stuff, fully camouflaged, fully scented out, and we completely lay still in like the middle of a not too hot zone, because we probably would have portioned out the zones between a light zone, medium zone, and hot zone, and probably stay in the medium zone where zombies are coming by, and leave out like live animals where these animals would be possible test subjects, and we'll just sit there, or not sit there, we'll be laying down like camouflage completely with like full camo suits, really blend with our environment. Maybe we hide in a box or something like that, something that we completely camouflage, and we're just sitting there and we're watching these animals and seeing how, if like obviously doing bits of experiments and seeing how the virus is being spread. So again, that's my little idea, but we don't have much time, so we won't poke holes in mine. There's probably 1,012,000,000, which you guys probably have identified. I'm going to let Jotun go first. Jotun, how would you determine how the facts about the virus?
Oh, geez, dude. To be honest, I don't think I don't think I even would.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
You would.
Perfectly
You'd put
reasonable
yourself
answer.
into danger to try discover that kind of stuff.
Hey, you don't have to put yourself. You can go send other people out there and
But I don't want to send Tommy and Jerry out.
I mean, the closer you bring yourself to discovery, or to discovering that kind of information, is the closer you bring yourself to the danger of the spread. So,
Sure.
and I mean, it's a bit of a philosophical argument, and in as much as like to know that kind of information, yeah, it's to bring yourself into more danger. And in the end of the day, how does it help you really if you do know? And by that,
Could
no,
be
no,
a
but
cure. Could be
but
something that you can fight
but
against
let
them.
me finish. So what I mean is, if it was something that's airborne, right? It's like for you to learn that it's airborne, you would have to get close enough to
infected.
something. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and that's almost indistinguishable from, like knowing
Getting
that you have
bitten.
to get bitten. Either way, you're trying to stay as
Yeah.
far away from these things as possible. And
Exactly.
if like you do learn that kind of information, then like you're still going to try to stay as far away as possible. And if you
Very
don't
true.
know that and do breathe the stuff in, then you're going to turn anyway. So like knowing and not knowing isn't going to reduce the chances of you getting it in you.
Oh, 100%.
Because like either way, the situation of the infection would happen based on your proximity towards the vector of the disease. So like it's better to just stay away. The only way you can learn, and this is how I would learn, is just to be as observant as possible. Because somewhere down the line, you'll see someone else being the dumbass that tries to find out more. No offense to you, Mackie.
Hey, that's a
No
method.
offense
That
to
is
you.
a method. That is a method. But that's why I asked you the question, and that's a perfectly reasonable response. So, Raspberry, you the same kind of line as that as well, where you rather not poke into areas you should not poke on, and eventually, hopefully you find out somehow, with the risk of your people being affected. Because again, you're sending out scouts, and that's why I contradict you guys, because the fact that you don't know it's just something you breathe in, you guys are not prepared in yourselves, no matter what you do. Because now Jotun, eventually when he does meet other people, he unintentionally, maybe it takes a while for that airborne disease, the airborne virus to like completely zombify the person, and you have no idea what that kind of thing is. So for me, why I say it might be worthwhile to send a scout team, myself included, because I'm technically the leader of this community, is to really find out the bare minimum of this thing. Because at the moment, we're going off by rumors and people are freaking out because, like yourself, Raspberry, your community is going to go bat crap crazy because of the fact of they see someone coughing and see someone scratching themselves and a rash has appeared. And they're fully believing that that is the cause of the virus
I get
or
what
the
you're saying.
zombification. And similar to what happens to The Walking Dead is that they have no idea how it spreads until eventually when someone dies by natural causes, they realize in The Walking Dead that they're all infected with the zombie plague, and it just means that if they die, they turn into a zombie. So they're technically all zombies, but they only become official zombies when they passed on. So my idea is that at least I know that, and if a zombie bites me, I don't have to kill Bill next to me, because the fact is the bite doesn't transfer the disease. So the fact that you guys are leaving it to say, I hope this doesn't get me infected, I feel like you're exposing yourself even more, because now how many times must you go get in for foods and stuff, and you don't know, maybe it's by touch or maybe it's by that. You could be fully protecting yourself. It's Raspberry's turn.
The thing is, I feel like I understand your argument. It's a very good argument. I won't lie, I agree with you like 99%. But the 1% I don't is that I feel like you will harm yourself or the community more trying to figure it out, causing you to maybe die sooner, or your community.
It's possible.
Sooner. The thing is, if the more you know, yes, it's sometimes better, but the more you know, it might screw you too. So the thing is, if like, listen, it doesn't matter if you know or no. Like, let's take The Walking Dead for example. Like, they know if they die, they turn into a zombie. They only figured out so late after losing so many people. The only way which you'll properly figure out what the reason or cause is for someone to turn. And eventually, you know what's going to happen. If you are roaming and scouting and seeing what's going on, you're going to get a mental picture on how this disease is kind of getting transferred. Like, I mean, listen.
Possible, and that's why I'm asking you. Is if you send out a scout team and they're just watching from a distance, that's a
100%.
perfectly
And
reasonable
listen,
approach.
like the most reasonable thing that it could be is either a airborne virus, or what do you do if you think someone is a dirty person? You want to stay away from them, right? Because you don't want to get anything they maybe have, if they even have anything. So obviously with a zombie, if a zombie comes, you want to stay away from them, because obviously you don't want to, get infections and stuff. So I mean, I lost my point, but I had a good
Well,
one.
that's why I'm gonna contradict your point there with World War Z, where in World War Z, the sick were actually immune to the virus because of the fact that they already had a virus that killed the
So
zombie
in
virus
other words,
before they
it's
got
just
into this.
take a gamble, bro.
So, in other words, if you have a dirty person in your community, yes, you might be right. Is that, but that's why I'm getting to you, because a human mind is trying to consistently figure out what the F has happened, and the fact that you guys are like seeing people scratch themselves, cough themselves, or cracking themselves, maybe they've just had a bad meal. And now you must comment that fact. Is that now the zombie?
There's one big weakness to your approach, even with scouts doing the job for you. And that's that in both of the community, the fact that both of you guys actually want to establish a community means that you guys value the skills and the output of other people. So sending in even a scout would be an active detriment towards your people, or at least a danger.
Yeah, but you have to though. But you have not even trying to figure what's going on with the zombie apocalypse. For your team to go scout for food, it's also a danger, as you say. Like, it's a downside, because then when they come back, they could spread a virus or they could do whatever. But in any case, all of us are gonna have to do that.
No, but that's not exactly true, because Mackie has stated now that we're trying to find out more about that virus.
Dude, there's no way you will.
The only way you can do that is by bringing yourself into the vicinity of the
100%.
thing that you are absolutely sure has the virus, and that would be
100%.
the zombies, right? But you can go scouting for food and stuff, and avoid zombies at the same time. So this is just a bit of a tricky question, because Mackie has stated the intent of this is to go to the zombies. And that's why I was saying, you don't bloody go to the zombies, you stay away from the zombies. This is a zombie
100%.
outbreak.
Well done, Jotun has figured it out. No. Okay, guys, I think that's where we're gonna cut this episode here. As you can tell, this is a topic that can go on in many different forms and ways. I painted a picture. This was one specific scenario, and I loved every bit of how you guys picked out each other, had different ways of surviving. Now, again, guys, this is only confined to so much time. Again, hopefully Raspberry does grace us with his presence in a future episode.
Oh, yeah.
But that will have to be from him. I hope he does, because he's a really fun person to have combat against Jotun, and Jotun to combat him against his ideas. Because you can see that there's a bit of like contrasting ideologies, which I love. But guys, if you really enjoyed this episode, give it a 5-star, a like, whatever platform you're listening on this. Again, I'll mention briefly. There's Apple, Spotify, pretty much every podcasting platform you guys can think of. Also on YouTube, Rumble. We don't really do much on Rumble, funny enough. But again, we also have a gaming channel called Ramble Shamble. Go give that a check. As well, guys, we try to post as regularly as possible. Every Thursday comes out a new episode of Ramble Shamble. But we also have a subcategory, still part of the same podcast, called Ramble Shrapnel, which is really important, which really uses your comments, and Jotun is the best person to describe this.
Yes. Before I do that, though, I want to read you guys one of the clauses in the Amazon Web Services terms and conditions, which states 42.10 acceptable use and safety critical system. Your use of the lumberyard materials must comply with AWS acceptable use policy. The lumberyard materials are not intended for use with life critical or safety critical systems, such as an operation of medical equipment, automated transportation systems, autonomous vehicles, aircraft or air traffic control, nuclear facilities, manned spacecraft or military use in connection with live combat. However, This restriction will not apply in the event of the occurrence with blah 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 of a widespread viral infection transmitted via bites or contact with bodily fluids that causes human corpses to reanimate and seek to consume living human flesh, blood, brain, or nerve tissue, and is likely to result in the fall of organized civilization. So if anybody is interested in looking at that actual Amazon Web Services clause, it is clause 42.10.
It's a real thing.
What?
Or you just making
Google
it up?
it, my friend. No, it's in the terms and conditions.
You know, the entire time I just wanted to claw my ears off and my eyes out because I was like, why are you reading us T's and C's on fucking Amazon? And that when the zombie part came, I was like, what? Is this like drugs?
Thank you, that was so worth it.
So basically what they're saying is you're not allowed to use this in connection to aircraft or like nuclear things or spaceships or live combat, but in the case of a zombie apocalypse, have fun.
Okay, let us know who Ramble Shrapnel is, because I'm sure the listeners will be jumping right onto that.
Okay, everybody. So first of all, if you liked what we said over there for that last clause, or anything inside of this episode as a whole, please like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever you want. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you can. And yeah, so from the comments that you guys leave on the YouTube or based on something that you have on a conversation inside our Discord, we like to choose our favorite response or something that the community on Discord upvotes the most or agrees with. And we will talk about that for a short little bonus episode called Ramble Shrapnel, because it's the little bits and pieces of the main episode. And yeah, we'll just spoof on that.
Well, I think that concludes our episode here. Thanks again, guys, for coming to listen to our little podcast. I know it's a bit long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you guys come check out our future episodes /videos /everything else. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.